welcome to Deck Tech, and today I'll be showing you Viserai. This is a really interesting build, and hopefully this will inspire you guys to play Viserai, who's a fantastic hero in Monarch. So this deck is basically on using Bloodsheath Skeleta in conjunction with Sonata Arcanax. Now this deck may look like the traditional OTK kill you with 40 rune chant deck, but this is not the case. That is not what this deck is trying to do. This deck actually functions much closer to a mid-range Viserai deck that uses attack actions, and you are not trying to build up and kill your opponent in one turn. That is not the case. What's actually really cool about this deck is we play a normal game plan of using attack actions and non-attack actions, but at one point during the game, we want to use Sonata Arcanax in combination with Skeleta and a bunch of rune chants to do massive damage, sometimes even killing your opponent. So let's dive right into a deck. So Sonata wants us to be playing an even spread of attack actions and non-attack actions. So most of the time, I'm going to be submitting 60 cards exactly with 30 attack actions and 30 non-attack actions. Sometimes I'm going to be playing these defense reactions against stuff like Dorinthia, Bravo, maybe Prison, and I'm going to be playing Remembrance against the more controlling decks. But in general, we're going to be reenacting our game plan, and that is what's really important, especially against decks that have their own game plan. We want to be proactive as well. So let's take a look at the attack action cards, and well, you're going to see a lot of blues. This deck is really hungry for blues. The reason we want blues is they're just very strong cards, and on our combo finish, we want to be grabbing some of these blue attack action cards to use with our Exude Confidence. Let's dive into the really important cards here. Rouse the Ancients. When you use Skeleta, you're going to use it make your Sonata get reduced by the amount of rune chants, meaning you can search for lots of attack actions, but you also get to use Skeleta's other ability, which is it also works for an attack action card. Rouse the Ancient will then cost 0, and that is usually the first card you play on your kill turn. And Rouse the Ancient is very easy to reveal because we've built our deck really around it, and it's just a massive amount of damage. However, if you don't have a Rouse the Ancients, an alternative plan is use the Time Skippers, which we have a variety of blue to do, and then use it alongside Ninth Blade. So that is really powerful as well. The rest of the blues is just basically high quality blues. We're going to be using Exude Confidence. It's a really good card to end with a bunch of cards in your hand. Or you can do something tricky like pop Time Skippers, attack with Exude Confidence. They can either defend the card with a lot of cards, or they choose not to defend it. If they choose not to defend it, just use all your blues into it. If they choose to over defend it, just move on to your next attack. Now let's dive into the non-attack actions, and primarily these are cards that are going to help you make your rune charts. There are also a few cards that's just going to help with our game plan. We're doing a full set of Read the Runes, and this is going to be amazing if you get it with Mordred. You do not need to make that many rune charts. How many rune charts are you trying to make before you use the leader? I will go off as low as 10 rune charts. It's equal 5, and that might seem like not much, but with your even ratio, if you're looking at 8 cards, you should sometimes get 4, but you should always ideally get 3 attack action cards, and sometimes that's enough. Now we're basically going with the full Rune Blood Barrier, Read the Runes, and some number of oaths, and this generates a really high amount of rune chants. Again, we do not need too many, so we do not need to be playing cards like Reduce to Rune Chant. That would make our Sonatas a lot worse when we do get it off. Additionally, by come to Arc Knight, premium in this deck now that we play with attack actions and non-attack actions. In previous builds that are full of defense reactions, you might draw this card alongside defense reactions. This card is at its best in this deck. Tome of the Arc Knight also just will randomly hit quite often due to our really perfect ratio. We want to be playing with Enchanting Melody versus Dorinthia, some other decks. It works kind of like a defense reaction that's just a non-attack action, and that just helps a lot more with Sonata. Now, how would you play this build on a budget? Well, actually, it's a good thing for you guys. This is just not a very expensive deck. So you're going to have to get your hands on a Bloodsheath Skeleta. That's the most important thing, and get your hands on these Sonatas. However, Grasp of the Arc Knight is not that important. You can basically replace it with any other arms and it will be fine. Replacing it with Goliath Gauntlet is not bad because it's going to be 2 damage on your kill turn, especially if you take this deck to Blitz. And we're going to do is replace Arcanite Skullcap with something like maybe Hope Merchant's Hood or Talismanic Lens. And you might ask why you want to replace it with those cards. Is Hope Merchant's Hood is like really nice if you just randomly have a hand and draw like 4 attack action cards. Really important to just get rid of those cards. So these 2 cards is just not that important. Make sure you always play with a Time Skippers and always play with Skeleta. Now, if we also take a look at the Majestics we're playing with Exude Confidence and Enlightened Strike, some of the more expensive Majestics, and honestly, they're not that important. You can replace it with more blue attack action cards. You can even play with the Ascendancy if you have that, although that is a Majestic. But in general, this deck is really cheap to play. The fundamentals of the deck is Skeleta, Sonata, get a bunch of rune chants, and then start to go off. Hope you guys have fun playing this deck. This is one of my favorite decks to play in this format, and catch someone by surprise with a Sonata for 22.